We look at climate change as something that becomes an obligation of the university. As a learning institution, we ask ourselves, how do we take a look at our responsibilities? What do we do? This is a matter that probably needs some research on our part, and for us to determine what is happening here. Why is this taking place? And our researchers in the university who have been involved in climate change have been basically doing that. They've been going to various provinces and determining just exactly what is taking place and presenting various ways by which this situation could be addressed. De La Salle Araneta University has been a pioneer in the area of agriculture. We have dealt with this problem even much earlier, having been an agricultural school. We have a farm in San Jose del Monte, and this farm is our research farm for our agricultural programs. And we've seen how things have developed over the years, and we'd like to contribute to making sure that we keep the sacredness, the integrity of our environment through our little help in managing our climate. The university has taken a very active role in this area of climate change. In fact, we have commissioned our faculty to be able to engage themselves.
The title of this particular study is The Strategic Risk Analysis of Long-Term Climate Variability on Polillo Islands, Quezon Province. Well, the main objective of the study is to reduce the vulnerability of the area, because we all know that Polillo Island is considered to be a vulnerable hotspot to natural and anthropogenic disasters. Polillo Island is considered to be a 5th-class municipality, and the place is really very poor. The people who are living in those areas are really poor. Most of them are fisher folks, and we know very much that the poorest and the most vulnerable sector in the society is the agricultural sector, consisting of the farmers and the fisher folks. And that's the reason why the target of the study is the poorest sector in the country. Another reason why we chose Polillo Island as the hot spot is simply because that most of the tropical cyclones that entered Philippine air responsibility is located in the Bicolandia and Quezon Province, and Polillo Island is located at the Quezon Province. The main component of the project is about risk analysis, and this particular risk analysis is divided into two. We have the risk assessment, and the other one is risk management. Now, under the risk assessment, we have two. We have the technical aspect of the research, wherein we did climate modeling. Now, we also determined the temperature from 1900 up to the present. We also determined the rainfall from 1900 up to the present scenario. Then, aside from the technical aspect of the research, we also have the social aspect, wherein we went to different areas. We conducted participatory action research, wherein we really want to validate the results from the technical findings to coincide with the results of using the social science schemes. Under the risk management, what we really wanted to do here is actually to not just to identify the risk, but of course to manage the risk. We know very much that the risk, based on the definition of the United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Reduction, risk is a function of hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. Hazards such as floods, typhoons, droughts.
So yung modeling po yung we gather data from a specific source, then we analyze it. So yung ginawa po naming modeling is from rainfall, temperature, and typhoon.
Nag-start po kami sa year 1945 up to the present. And then nag-conduct kami ng decadal analysis. In-identify namin kung ilan bagyo yung tumama every decade.
And dun sa monthly analysis modeling naman po, mas kadalasang tumatama ng mga tropical cyclones ay nag-exist sa buwan na July, October, and August and September.
Temperature po, ito po yung objectives natin upang malaman po yung pagtaas or pagbabago ng klima. Nag-start po kami nito noong January 1900s up to the present.
Aside sa monthly, ginawa rin po namin yung pagbabago ng temperature per 10 years. And for the next 100 years, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius yung pagbabago sa temperature. And it coincides with information galing sa Pag-asa.
One of the methodologies or one of the things that we did in those areas, in those barangays sa Polillo Island, we went to the different barangays. We conducted participatory action research. We interviewed people. We gathered the barangay captains. We gathered the different organizations of our fisher folks, and then we did a focus group discussion. So what did we do there? So we did the biophysical assessment. We asked them questions, comparisons before and after. For instance, typhoon, kailan po dumarating ang bagyo noon at kailan po dumarating ang bagyo ngayon. Yung init po noon, ano po ba ang init ngayon? Mas mainit po ba noon o mas mainit po ba ngayon? Pagdating po sa tag-ulan, kailan po dumarating ang tag-ulan noon at kailan po nagtatapos. Tapos i-compare po natin siya kung kailan po dumarating ang tag-ulan ngayon at kailan po siya nagtatapos.
Mahirap yung daan. So ang ginawa nila, ginather na lang nila dun sa town proper, yung tinatawag nilang poblasyon, na kung saan yung bawat leader ng kanilang communities, doon nila sinabi sa amin yung kanilang pananaw regarding dun sa nangyayari sa kanilang kapaligiran. Kung ano nga ba yung pagkakaiba ng klima at temperatura noon.
Sabi nga nila, pagbabago ng panahon na hindi mo na alam kung kailan uulan, kailan aaraw, wala nang specific na panahon.
The importance of the biophysical assessment is that we can check the physical environment of the community, whether the environment is still somehow fit to the community or it is no longer that so good, wherein we really need to find a better solution for enable for them to somehow to adapt to the new environment.
Now, under the sociological, socio-economic assessment, dito po namin kinuha yung mga kita ng mga kapatid po nating mangingisda. Ano po ba ang mas malaking kita? Noon po ba o ngayon? Pagdating po sa dami o huli ng isda, gaano po ang nakukuha nilang isda noon at gaano po karami ang mga nakukuha nilang isda ngayon? Aside from the profit, tinanong po namin yung mga mangingisda pagdating po sa mga uri ng isda na kanilang nahuli noon at kanilang mga nahuhuli ngayon. May pagkakaiba po kaya? So itong mga questions po na ito po yung mga questions na ibinigay namin at binato namin sa mga mangingisda ng Polillo Islands.
According doon sa mga fishermen doon, karaniwan sa mga nahuhuli nilang isda ay gaya ng lapu-lapu, tanige, tamban, bulinaw. Katulad pa rin ng nahuhuli nila noon, kaya lang mas kakaunti yung nahuhuli nila ngayon. So yun yung sinasabi nila na kahit mahal yung presyo, ay hindi pa rin sumasapat yung income kasi nga dahil kakaunti naman yung inaani nila, kakaunti din yung naibibenta nila. Sabi din nung mga fishermen, kumpara noon 10 to 20 years ago, mas kakaunti yung mangingisda noon, yung mga fishermen noon, compare doon sa mga nangingisda ngayon. Mas marami, mas dumoble yung nangingisda ngayon. dahil kakaunti na rin yung kinikita nila, yun din yung kanilang gusto sana na kung magkakaroon sila ng mga livelihood program doon. Other income lang na pinagkukuhanan nila aside from fishing ay yung pagkokopra, tapos ay pagtatanim ng palay, pagbibilad ng palay na syempre seasonal. Kung magkakaroon sila ng mga livelihood program na throughout the year ay kikita sila, mas maganda kasi yung mga kababaihan na naiiwan sa bahay ay malaki ang maitutulong doon sa mga tatay na nagpupunta doon sa dagat. Part din noong assessment na ginawa namin sa kanila, yung health issue. So, sabi ng mga na-interview namin doon, karaniwan sa mga sakit na nararanasan nila ay gaya ng trangkaso, ulcer, tulad ng sore eyes, measles. So, yung pangkaraniwang sakit na nararanasan natin, no, sa pagdaan ng panahon, pagdaan ng araw na maring epekto din nung pagbabago ng panahon doon sa kanilang lugar.
Aside from the socioeconomics, we also did the psychological assessment. Ano po ba ang nararamdaman ng mga kapatid nating mangingisda kapag nagkakaroon po ng mga sakuna, kapag nagkakaroon po ng disaster sa Polillo Islands? The last analysis, the policy analysis, wherein tinanong po namin ang ating mga kapatid na mangingisda sa Polillo kung merong nakaakmang mga pulisiya na nararapat para sa kanila. At dito po namin napag-alaman, base po sa kanilang mga kasagutan na yung mga CCA, Climate Change Adaptation, and DRRM schemes, they are not really aware of these particular policies. And part of our recommendation sa ginagawa po namang study is to mainstream, turuan po natin ang ating mga kapatid na mga mangingisda na magkaroon ng kaalaman. Some of our expected outputs in this research, we're going to develop maps. Hazard maps, exposure maps, vulnerability maps, and definitely combining these three, then we will have the risk maps. These particular expected outputs, these particular hazard maps, exposure maps, vulnerability maps were derived from the simulation models, right, that we did in this particular research. So what is the purpose of that? We really want to coincide our results from the participatory action research. We want to coincide the results there using the technical models. So ang gusto namin mangyari, kung ano yung naging resulta ng social science scheme, kailangan maiugnay sa magiging resulta sa technical models. Those maps that we developed using technical models will be used by the local government units, by the non-government organizations, by the people's organizations, and definitely by the fisher folks who are living in those areas.
Sa Polillo, napakalawak rin ng mangrove dito ng mga panahong siguro ay mga bata pa ako. Pero ngayon, sa dami ng mga siguro yung mga tao sa paligid na nakatira dito, halos kino-convert nila ito, ginagawang fish pond yung iba, yung mga crab pens ginagawa nilang ganoon. Tapos yung iba inuuling nila ito. At napakaganda nitong gawing uling, kaya siguro ginagawa na rin nila itong hanap buhay ng pag-uuling. Kung makikita natin dito sa paligid natin, hindi ito ganito marami ito noong mangrove. Hindi kagaya ngayon na halos unti-unti na itong nauubos. Sa ngayon, may ginagawang initiative ang munisipyo para maprotektahan yung mga mangrove area dito sa amin sa Polillo. Ngayon, nagkakandak kami ng delineation survey para malaman namin kung saan yung mga pwedeng mapagtaniman pa ng mangrove dito sa Polillo. At yun ang aming tututukan. Siguro darating yung time na ang ating mahal na mayor, magkakandak kami ng gawin siyang parang local conservation area. Na ngayon, meron kami sa terrestrial. Ngayon, papasok na rin kami ng mangrove para magawa namin siya ng ordinance na hindi na pwedeng pakialaman yung mga mangrove dito sa Polillo. May mga parte dito na dating matataas na dito sa lugar na to, mga matataas na lugar, pero ngayon lumulubog na siya. Hindi lang ang dahilan na yung pagkukuha ng mga buhangin, ng mga ginagawa nilang pambenta, siguro ay dahilan na rin nung sa climate change na nangyayari sa atin ngayon. Nung nagkaroon ng panahon na nabalitaan na nagkakaroon ng tsunami, nagkaroon dito ng pagtaas ng tubig na halos yung barangay site dito sa Barangay Libo naabot siya ng tubig. Ayun, yung mga tao nagpanic.
Noong pong mga nakaraang taon, nagkaroon po ng para pong may nagbigay na may dating na tsunami. Ang ating po mga kababayan ay hindi po alam kung saan po location sila dediretso upang makaligtas po sa anumang darating na tsunami. Yun po lamang. Kaya po ang ating mahal na mayor ay nagkaroon kami ng mga paghahanda sa aming bayan. Kung sakali bang may dumaan na anumang kalamidad o mga pagsubok na darating sa amin, ang amin naman Pulilio ay para maging handa. Nagkaroon po kami ng mga pagtitraining upang magkaroon po ng kasanayan ng ating mga kababayan. Kung sakali pong may tumamang hindi nasang pagkakataon ay handa po ang bayan ng Pulilio.
This is actually the first phase of the research project. The second phase of the project is to mainstream all the CCNDRM schemes by conducting scientific capacity development or capacity building with the people who are living in those areas.